Hello friends, I've got so many suggestions in my previous Nuke video that I feel almost obliged to make yet another one. And today I have something special just for you. Nuke builds that shred any level, regardless if that's level 10 or level 10,000. These builds have insane KPM and don't give a flying fuck. Starting off strong with one and only Garuda. I feel like most people don't pick this frame up because it seems way too complicated, but she is a beast. I will try to explain the build so it's very easy to understand. So we will be nuking with our first ability, Dread Mirror. This ability has two parts. On tap you will shred an enemy and get a portion of their HP into a shield that will stay in front of Garuda. This shield blocks attacks. The second part is when you hold it, it multiplies the damage stored each second while it drains your energy. On release it deletes the entire screen. This explosion also doesn't care about line of sight. So your aim can be absolute pepega, yet it will not matter. And the most broken thing of her kit is that the damage scales from enemy level, making her delete enemies the same way regardless what you are doing. For the build we focus on range and strength. You could go even less duration if you want, but that's personal preference. Efficiency absolutely doesn't matter, considering this frame has an infinite energy generator. Thanks to our third ability, Bloodletting, just press it twice and you will be full on energy. And since to use this you need to sacrifice your health, we use Molt Reconstruct. This will heal us to full by pressing literally any button, apart from Bloodletting of course. And then we have our fourth ability, which turns the damage we will do with our charge 1 into a dot, finishing off remaining enemies if they somehow manage to stay alive. And on top of that we have Blending Talons, to make the build a lot more comfortable to play. Since we don't need to aim our Seeking Talons anymore and it's faster. We have Molt Augmented for even more strength. This is a flex slot though. If you feel like you need anything else, feel free to switch it out. Even though we have an infinite energy generator, Prime Flow is a must, since charging our orb eats energy like crazy. And lastly, for survivability, we have Brief Respite and Prime Surefooted. If you don't have Prime Surefooted, just add a little more range and pray. And of course, Garuda has so much iframes that you are pretty much immortal, but if you want to get legit immortal, all you need to do is put 2 more augur mods on your secondary. This allows for a full shield gate every time you press your 4. And now the most fun thing about Garuda. I know you noticed Nourish there, but this is not your regular Nourish. Garuda's 1 and 4 are coded as weapons, so our 4th ability will not only turn all our damage into slash, but it will prime the enemies with viral. And of course, our orb will do much more damage. This opens up things like Vigorous Swap and Arcane Arachne, but honestly, here on this channel we only do brain dead builds. Both of these require effort. Archon Shards are pretty funny. 5 Tau casting speed shards. Since our charge damage actually gets multiplied faster the more cast speed we have. It's a very easy choice. And lastly, don't forget to use the Amalgam mods and Priodos for extra parkour, since we don't require weapons at all with this frame. Focus Cool also doesn't really matter, but when you don't know what to use, you can always use Madurai. Kurasku is pretty useful for stealth, but the choice is fully up to you. Only thing that I suggest is running Resourceful Retriever for more loot. So Garuda, very high APM frame, and very fun. You know, when I play Garuda, it just feels so risk-free. Like, you require actually 0 brain cells to play this once you figure out how the combo works. Energy is infinite and you are just immortal as long as you keep casting. One of the most comfortable frames out there that scales easily to level cap. Tougher the enemies, the more damage you do. Necromex, no problem. Acolytes, no problem. Baba Booey, no problem. Damage cap, aka minus 2.147 billion, no problem. Just remember that when you start getting math equations, you are probably overdoing it, since you might just do 0 damage. Since you are doing so much damage, you broke the game code, so chill a bit. Also, one trick that works is if you cast 4 in between your 1 tap and 1 hold, you can actually spam your 3 ability to get more energy whilst charging it, so do with this as you will. So the full damage combo is tap 1, and right after you start holding 1, you use 4. This will completely cancel the animation of the 4. When you stored enough damage, release. Usually it's enough to hold just a little bit depending on what your first target was. If you're feeling like a grandma or grandpa, you can just do 4, tap 1, hold 1 and release. Then we have Sevagoth. Oh lord, how much I hate this frame. And don't get me wrong, not because the frame is bad, it's actually insane, but to build this thing, you need a degree in nuclear science or something. So for Sevagoth to one-shot every single enemy, doing 100% max HP true damage, we need 3 things. 255 strength when fully buffed, roar as Subsumed, and you need both of Sevagoth's augments. If all of these conditions are met, then you just one-shot everything. But on top of that, you need to worry about energy sustain and survivability. But luckily for everyone, this build does not directly use shadow form, so you will not need 7000 forma for one build. We will be subsuming it off for roar. So we do have only 199 strength, but we have molt augmented. So if you are doing any long mission, by the time you will need it, you will have it. If you are not doing level cap, for example, most enemies will die anyway, even without the stacks. With it stacked, we have just a bit over 255% threshold. The augments, I'm gonna be honest, it's just too much reading. You don't really even need to know what they do exactly, but in order for your build to work, you do need them both. For sustain we have Prime Flow, Streamline for efficiency, and good old Arcane Energize. At this point I think everyone has this arcane, considering the price got absolutely cooked. For survivability, we got Brief Respite and Catalyzing Shields, bread and butter of Warframe at this point, to be honest. And if you want to gain maximum shields with just one cast of the second ability, you will need 2 Augur mods on your secondary. But honestly, since your combo is 2 and then 1 anyway, again, you don't have to worry about it. Majority of the enemies will be dead before they touch you. If you are doing low levels, changing Catalyzing Shields for stretch is allowed. For the Archon Shards, we have 3 Tau Strength, 1 Tau Duration, 1 Tau Cast Speed. The Duration Shard is pure quality of life, and the rest of the shards can be exchanged for running Madurai, Chain Sling for more strength and Power Transfer for more cast speed. If you do this method, you only need 1 red normal shard for strength. And of course, you can just run the shards and Madurai. Once again, Hurrah Skubro for any frame that doesn't need to use weapons is very useful. I did say that we won't be using Shadow directly, but if you take a look at Sevagoth's passive, you will see that you can resurrect yourself with the Shadow, similar to Last Gasp. And for the Shade, to survive a bit against level cap enemies, you can't really go for health and armor. You could possibly do something with Arcane Persistence, but that's just too much investment for a feature that will be so rarely used. So I suggest running Prime Surefooted or the little version of Prime Surefooted plus Rolling Guard. This should be enough time for you to revive yourself. If you want to be a bit extra, add the remainder of the build. The hard part is over, so it's time for relaxation. This is probably the least effort build in all of Warframe. You literally just press 2 buttons. Well, 3 buttons if you count on roar. So keep roar active, just press 2 and then press 1. Oh no, you pressed 1 first, then you pressed roar, then you press 2, 1. Yeah, it doesn't matter. No stacks, by the way. It's just impossible to mess that up. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about Gloom. And the last build of this video, we have our favorite Muscle Mummy. Now, I gotta tell you, you probably know that Dante is the OG God Mode frame, but Hildryn is very close to taking that title. So Hildryn has been pretty terrible, I'm gonna be honest, for a while, up until Aegis Gale got introduced. This turned her into an actual room evaporator. Hildryn is one of the rare frames that likes big shields, since her shield gate is higher than regular and we have damage scaling from max shields. And of course Pillage, which will give us all shield back as long as we are in the vicinity of enemies, and 100% armor strip, assuming you have 400% strength in total. Haven is a pretty decent skill, but it's the worst in her kit, so that's what we're going to be subsuming. And Zata's Whisper has incredible synergy with Hildryn's Exalted weapon. And the last ability, Aegis Storm, is just the god mode where you start flying and you can go nuts. So with the combination of exactly 328 strength and corrosive projection, we get full armor strip and shield replenish on 1 cast of Pillage. I have no idea why it says 81% here, but it indeed is 82% in practice. We are focusing on range and strength. Efficiency doesn't matter much considering we use shields as energy and we replenish it all with just 1 cast of Pillage. And 130 duration seems perfect for this build. Since Hildryn likes shield so much, we are going for Prime Direction and Arcane Expertise, which both massively increase our max shield, and we go over 10k shields in actual missions. And lastly we go for Arcane Velocity, increasing our fire rate from our Exalted weapon. This can be switched to something else, but if you go too little fire rate, the Balefire can feel very sluggish. 5 strength, Tau Shards. This puts us exactly at 400% strength breaking point, but if you're willing to use pillage twice for stripping, you can totally ignore the shards. The Exalted weapon is very simple to mod. You just want as much raw damage as possible. In this case we go for blast, and electricity is the base element. You can go for primed convulsion, it's probably gonna do slightly more damage, but I honestly used enough forma for this video already. The build one-shots everything anyway. And lastly, secondary enervate, which once again has this goofy interaction where it's gonna randomly start orange and red critting. This totally breaks the build and you start doing very funny numbers. The companion you use is fairly important. For this we will be running Raxa Kubro. The important mod here is Protect. This will keep replenishing our shields, making us have infinite energy. The rest of the build is carefully tailored for Hildryn specifically. Aerial Bond, since we are in the air all the time, and Seismic Bond, since we are channeling all the time. The good old combo of Tenacious Bond and Reinforced Bond, Momentous Bond and Link Redirection for survivability, and 3 mods you should never take off your companion: Animal Instinct, Resourceful Retriever, and Fetch. Now there is some useful weapons to play with this frame. On the primary, only thing that matters is that you have decent crit chance and Amalgam Serration. We won't be using it directly. For the secondary we have the Grimore. You can choose whatever invocation you want, Netra invocation for more efficiency or Vom invocation for more strength. Since you can snapshot this as you enter your fort ability, I did end up choosing efficiency since we don't need any more strength in this build. And we have secondary fortifier giving us pretty good overguard, so our shields would be untouched. And of course, Amalgam Barrel Diffusion for more mobility, since you can indeed roll dodge in Hildryn's Aegis Storm. Then we have Furax Wraith, and once again you only need one mod, and that's Amalgam Furax Body Count, for more fire rate. Rest of the build is irrelevant for this. Now you remember when I said that you need at least a decent crit chance weapon? It's because of Tenacious Bond. Raxa Claws has terrible crit chance base, but that can be fixed with Hunter Synergy. The bare minimum build is just 2 mods, and that's Bite and Hunter Synergy. Make sure you get at least 50% crit chance, that will be enough. Interesting number here, not gonna lie. This build can easily hold its weight up until Elite Archimedia level enemies, so you probably have some questions now, like how is this build actually going to survive level cap? It's just gonna get exploded. And Hildryn is really slow. What do we do about that? Well, I have one fix for both of those issues, and that is Vazarin. But let me tell you, Vazarin feels really good on Hildryn, since we will be using Operator to move from room to room, and instantly popping back into our flying mode. And to make this even better, we will use some new Operator mods. The 2 important mods are Estivel Ikha, giving us voiceling distance and radius, and Sei Tap, giving us voiceling efficiency. On top of that, you can play Zidan Uskos for more damage on your Exalted, and together with it, Empazu Shoal, so we get more Taurun strikes. But this is a full utility build. If you're looking for something more traditional, we have this regular Cascade level cap build. My tongue is so tired, so I will not be naming all of them, but this is just a maximum amp damage build. Lastly, very important, don't forget Magus Cloud, so your protective sling will be 100% consistent and you will never miss the invulnerability window. Emergent Savior is for some QOL. Hildryn is, I repeat, a god mode frame. You will feel invincible and you will one-shot literally everything. And because of the augment, all you have to do is hold middle click on your mouse. It does take a little bit getting used to with the operator movement, but honestly good players have already learned this since the time of no parkour shards, nor Priodos, nor anything. We used to move like this on every frame, on every mission pretty much. Always keep Zata and your Aegis Storm active and use Pillage in case you need shields or more damage. Usually in the 5-second vulnerability window you will be able to clear the whole room, so no need for re-entering operator unless you are switching a room. And you really don't have to do anything special. You just have to play normally with operator and you will 100% of the time get the protective sling. That's gonna be all for today. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. If you want to see more, be sure to leave a like and/or subscribe. This is the 3rd video on Nuke Frames so far, but considering that the previous one got so much interest and comments, I might even do yet another one, so comment down below on what you would like to see. I hope you guys have a great upcoming year, and I will catch you in the next one.